A very good morning to all the students of class 7. My name is Prerna and I'm your English teacher. And today from your English book Skyline, we are going to be reading chapter number 11. Tell me, how many of you ever tried really hard to achieve something and you were able to do so? How did it feel? It felt great, right? So, this chapter number 11 that we are going to read, is about a girl who's very much determined to achieve something. So, let us read the chapter to understand that what is it that this girl was really determined to achieve and how she achieved it. Here we go. This is chapter number 11, and the name of the chapter is SUVIRA. All right, so let us start reading this chapter number 11. Here we go. I'd arrived in the middle of the term. It couldn't be helped. My father's life had suddenly taken a sharp U-turn. He had resigned from his job and decided to change tracks in his career. We'd had, we'd had to pack up and leave. It was awful saying goodbye to all my friends, especially Anu. And now we were trying to cope up with the changed circumstances as best we could. We had to hang in there and hope that this cloud too would have its silver lining. So in the first paragraph of the chapter, the narrator is talking about how difficult it is for her to move to a new city. And why she had to move to a new city? Because her father had decided to change his career path. And when she said that, I hope this cloud too had a silver lining. A cloud having a silver lining means that there is something good even in a situation that seems really bad to us. My second day in the new school was marked with excitement and anxiety. There were trials taking place for the inter-school athletic meet. The school teams were to be chosen and finalized. Every house had their favorite for each event, and many a special cheer had been read. So this girl, when she had moved to a new school, the school was celebrating the annual, celebrating the sports day. All right, and what was happening? There was a lot of excitement in the school because the trials for inter-school athletic meet were being conducted, and she describes that how there were packets of glucose for last minute energy boost and last minute pats on appropriate bags for morale boost. So how the teachers or even the friends, they were encouraging those who had participated in this particular athletic meet. I sat in a corner by myself, shaking my legs to keep off the mid-January chill and also, I guess, from nervousness. So you can see this girl, she is sitting all alone and she's feeling really cold. She's saying that it's very chill because it's the month of January. Having come from Calcutta with its warmer climes refer to climates, I was as yet unprepared for the sting of Delhi's chilly winter mornings. So this girl had moved from Calcutta to Delhi, and Calcutta, of course, it hardly has very cold climate. So imagine moving from Calcutta to Delhi. She was experiencing the chill mornings of January. I wore a red t-shirt and white shorts because I was put into red house. So like in our school, we have different houses with different names. So this school had houses named after certain colors, and this girl was placed into the house named Red House. But my housemates pretty much ignored me. Not that they were being unfriendly on purpose, just that it was a busy day, a day to back the favorite, not some unknown horse as I was. So this girl is saying that my house mates or my house members, they were not really ignorant. It's just that they were really busy encouraging their friends who had participated in the athletic meet. So I shook my legs and chewed my nails and looked longingly at the glucose from the corner of my eye. And I also cursed myself for having been stupid enough to volunteer to participate in the 800 meters. Now imagine this girl is new to the school, but she still decides to participate in the 800-meter race. But somewhere she curses herself. She doesn't feel good. She's wondering, was that a good idea? It was just a silly kind of thing I land up doing to myself. Deepti Gupta told me that I had an impossibly tough race ahead. So there was another girl in the red house named Deepti Gupta, and she told this girl that you've taken a big challenge. It's going to be very difficult, or rather impossible, for you to win this challenge. Suvira Mathur of Blue House has never been beaten in this event, not even at the inter schools. In fact, she assured me Suvira holds the Delhi inter school record for the 800 meters. So who was Suvira? Suvira was another girl in the school who was a very famous athlete, and in fact she had won at the state level. So Deepti Gupta told this girl who was new to the school that it is impossible for you to defeat Suvira Mathur. I eyed at the said Miss Mathur. She had long, dark, muscular legs which rippled every time she moved. She had a friendly enough face which flashed smiles to everyone dressed in blue t-shirts. But when she moved, she was like a well-oiled machinery. So she's saying that it seemed that she was as fast as a machine. I tried to shake off my feelings of certain disaster. Shake off my feelings means to get rid, to try and avoid or to get rid of something. Feelings of certain disaster means feeling of being defeated. So this girl who was in the red house, she tried to overcome her fear. I had to make a decent go of this. Now that I had put myself into the situation, I should give it my best shot. I wasn't a bad piece of machinery myself after all. I had won the 800 meters a couple of times in Calcutta. What was the guarantee that Suvira Mathur was better and faster than me? So this girl is into a mode of self-motivation. She's trying to tell herself that if you could win in Calcutta, you can very well win in this new school as well, and you should not be scared of your competitor. Who knows, I could turn out to be the new heroine of the show, queen of the fast track, or something grand like that. With such wonderful, fanciful thoughts warming the cockles of my heart, I caught up to test my old, slightly battered spikes on the new, unfamiliar track. So spikes, those are the special shoes which are worn by athletes. No one cheered me on as I warmed up, doing springs and stretches to force the winter from my bones and muscles. Just the power of positive thinking and I were out there on our own, hand in hand. So this girl, because she was new to the school, no one really knew her, there was no one to encourage her, but she tried to encourage herself through positive thinking. I stopped for a few minutes to catch my breath and watch the 110 meters hurdles. I always admired people who could fly so effortlessly over hurdles and high jump poles, but today I promised myself I would fly. So this new girl said that I'm going to run so fast that it will appear that I am flying. I would burn the track. Not literally, she's saying that I'm going to run so fast that I'm going to be the new talk of the town. And then the 800-meter race was announced. I picked lane 3. Oh no, it had to happen. In the draw of lots, I picked the lane right next to Suvira Mathur, who was running in lane 4. Oh dear, not a very auspicious start. A slight tremble shot through my dwindling confidence. Dwindling means shaking. But it was too late to back out now. I admit that for a fleeting moment I actually considered feigning a faint right there and then, but I couldn't myself down that badly. Could I? No. Maybe a lot of things, but I'm not a chicken, especially not now when I had only myself to count on. To be not a chicken means to be not a coward. Come on, come on. I coaxed my cold limbs as I did another round of quick springs. So again, she's encouraging herself. I had so much to prove, so much to work for, and so much to achieve. You see, not only was I new to the school, but my family and I had come away from Calcutta in what I viewed as unfortunate circumstances. My father was out of job. I knew that my parents were really putting a lot of pressure on themselves by admitting me into this good but expensive school. I had to live up to their expectations now and my expectations as well. So now I had to prove myself to my family, to my new school, and to the world at large that none of these insecurities mattered. See how strong this girl is mentally. She's standing all alone in a new school. She has the courage to participate in the athletic meet, and then she knows that there's no one to encourage her, but she's continuously motivating herself. I would compete wearing my old spikes and I would win. Dear God, I had to win. Look at her determination. On your marks, the starter's arm went up. The whole school ground went deadly quiet. I crouched down behind the starting line. So she bent there, tucking my head into the side of my left knee. While my right knee rested onto the ground, I tried not to look at my right, but my eye caught the dark muscular arm that tensed, ready for action. Get set! I looked up then, every sense mentally circling lane 3 and fixing on the finish line. So this girl had one focus. Had She was single-mindedly focused on the finish line where she was determined to reach first. I was going to be there first, ahead of everyone else, everyone including SUVIRA Mathur. My right leg was extended way back, my shoulders poised forward, and the tip of my fingers resting on the red track, ready for a takeoff. Go! The starter's gun went off, and I was out of my blocks almost immediately, racing away. There was no one on my left, and one important, there was no one on my right. I was ahead and sprinting. The roar of the crowd was deafening. The cheers blending backwards and forwards into each other. I was thinking of nothing now, flying free, released. Then my ears began to absorb a throbbing sound, a sort of pulsing. I felt a slight frown fix itself on my forehead as the single voice of the crowd's chant became apparent. Now, this new girl was leading the race, but the crowd was cheering was for someone else. SUVIRA, SUVIRA, SUVIRA. Now imagine you're leading the race, but people are cheering for someone else. There wasn't a single voice chanting my name. They did not even know my name or who I was, not even those in my own house, except maybe 2 or 3 girls. And they weren't chanting for me either. It was the whole school, the whole of Delhi, the whole of India, the whole world chanting one name, SUVIRA, SUVIRA. So this girl felt that everyone in the world was there to support, there to encourage SUVIRA, but there was no one to support me. The chant was rising to a crescendo. It was reaching hysterical's level now. So, hysterical mean uncontrollable. And I knew why. I could feel her breath hot and pursuing. I could hear the drumbeat of her feet as they pounded down lane 4 in hot pursuit. I knew she was closing in on me. I knew that I had got away too early at the start. I hadn't paced myself correctly. We were approaching the 400-meter mark. just about the halfway through, and I was already running out of fuel. Running out of fuel means that this girl who was leading the race, this girl who was new in the school, she felt that now she was losing onto her energy levels. I knew that I would have to put the brakes on just as Suvira Mathur was putting her foot down to the accelerator. So this girl who was leading the race, she was becoming slow while Suvira Mathur was gearing up. Suvira was increasing her speed. The crowd went crazy as Suvira closed the gap between us. We were running shoulder to shoulder and each was eyeing to the other to see who made the first move. Slow down, I told myself. I started slowing down very imperceptibly. It's an old trick in racing. You cut back on your pace and your opponent too takes pressure off herself. So all those who are into sports would understand this, but just for other students, of what happens, when two people are racing and they are at the same position, one of the opponent, just to maybe fool the other one, slows down. So what happened, this person who's now is leading feels that, okay, my opponent has gone a little weak, so I can also slow down. And a point comes when again they come at the same point, and the one who pretended to be losing on the energy levels picks up again. So did it worked a bit, but with a wildly enthusiastic crowd edging her on and just 300 meters to go, she began pulling away. So again, Suvira started leading. She was in front row and I had lost the lead that I had maintained in the first half. I hung on like a worrying dog. I wasn't going to let her get out of reach. I just lay back a bit to catch my breath, refuel my engine, and give it my best shot. Now, despite the fact that this girl is losing, she's still so much sure that I am going to win this race. Look at, again, I'll use the word determination. My eyes drilled hot holes into her back, her muscular sweat soaked back. My gaze traveled down to her legs as they pumped their way towards the finish line and victory. I think it was then I saw her shoes, brand new ones, while glistening sharp spikes which sprang forward, bit into the track, and then sprang forward again like a wild, untamable animal. An animal that was hungry for victory that it hadn't yet tasted. I tried not to think of those spikes. I concentrated instead on my own. Mine were old, blunted through use. They had lost most of their gloss and some of their bite, a bite like an aging gum-jawed lion. But they had experience. Oh, sure, they had a lot of experience. And yes, my old spikes were used to winning. Surely my good old spikes had some hunger left in them yet. So, Suvira is still very much sure that I will be winning this race. I was close now, just 20-30 meters to go. It was now or never. I couldn't afford new spikes, but I wouldn't want them even if I could afford them. My old blue spikes had got me onto the victory stand often enough. I would take them there this time, past those flashy new spikes and past the home favorite. Suvira Mathur would have to eat my dust. I surged forward. Suvira's head swiveled around to see how close I was. So Suvira now she turned her head to see whether the girl was leading or not. Seeing my closing in, she stepped on the gas, but I was a full steam ahead too. Suvira, Suvira, the whole universe reverberated with the name of my opponent. They'll be yelling and chanting my name next time, I promised. We ran together now, step for step, stride for stride, the old favorite with the new shoes, the newcomer with the old ones. The tape was within an arm's reach now. Tape, that is the ending line. So there's a kind of ribbon which is tied to the ending line. I could feel my lungs bursting with the effort. I could hear her gasping too, hear her through the roaring pain of effort in my ears. I ducked my head and breasted the tape. I crossed the finish line. She crossed the finish line. The crowd went wild, cheering and chanting, still chanting Suvira Matho's name. But in between the chanting, there were voices which asked, "Hey, who's this? What's the new girl's name?" So the new girl, along with Suvira, had won the race. Both of them secured the first position. And then we were standing there together on the top step of the victory stand, where both of us were used to standing alone. That means, so this girl is saying that before I actually competed with Suvira was the sole winner. And in my school in Calcutta, I always secure the first position in any race. She turned to me and smiled a friendly, open smile as though she was genuinely happy. "Well done," she said. "Well run," I said. Then we joined hands and raised them to acknowledge the cheering of our school, my school. Isn't that a wonderful story? How your determination, irrespective of your circumstances, will always lead you towards victory. Another important lesson that we have come across through this chapter is you should always have a competitive spirit, but then it should be healthy. You should never have a negative attitude towards your competitors. Always be positive and focus on your victory rather than bringing down the other person. Focus on self enhancement. Focus on growing in such a way, enhancing in such a way that you taste victory for sure. Thank you so much.